Today, the waning moon moves through the solar domains of Leo, and even if you don't always notice, something in your perception begins to tune itself like a silent antenna. There's a subtle movement within your energetic field, as if old memories and forgotten talents are about to be touched by a greater force. You may feel a certain restlessness, an inexplicable unease. This is not by chance. It is the whisper of something that has long remained dormant within you, now being called to awaken. There has always been a part of you that knew it wasn't being fully expressed. A spark, a strength, a gift, which, for various reasons, was left asleep, waiting for the right moment. And that moment, with a geomagnetic cosmic conjunction about to unfold in the next 24 hours, begins now. Even if you consider yourself skeptical or have learned to dismiss these subtle impulses, part of you knows, feels, that something special is happening today. The energy of Leo brings forth an emotional courage you don't always claim. You may seem reserved in certain contexts, but there are moments when your inner light shines intensely, even if only when you're alone. And it's precisely that light, that personal brilliance, that now receives the push of an energetic activation that few will recognize. But you, somehow, will feel it, because you felt it before. In dreams, in sudden intuitions, in moments of synchronicity. Throughout this video, you will not only understand what is happening around you, but you will also begin to see why it resonates so deeply within your inner world. Stay with me until the end, because what is about to be revealed may not only clarify sensations that have been with you for some time, but also open practical pathways for you to reconnect with what makes you unique. And that, you already know, is far too important to ignore. Have you ever noticed how certain days carry a tension that can't be explained by ordinary routines? Today, with the waning moon in Leo and a geomagnetic portal forming, many are feeling an inner pressure, a restlessness that has no name but demands expression. This kind of influence doesn't arrive with fanfare, but seeps into the simplest gestures, a word that sounds sharper than it should, a silence that weighs heavier than usual. This energetic movement is not random. It connects to something within you, something that has always been there. In the field of geophysics, there are clear records of how variations in Earth's magnetic field affect sleep patterns, heart rhythms, and even collective behavior. Solar storms and coronal mass ejections, often ignored by headlines, coincide with periods of disorientation and, paradoxically, of personal revelations. This isn't mysticism, it's physics in motion, translated into emotion. As the moon empties her light in Leo, she amplifies this discharge in our inner theater, activating instincts long muted by routine. These impulses, however faint, are like ancient codes your body and mind still know how to decipher. You may think you're not sensitive to them, but remember the times when, without explanation, you felt the urge to change everything with no rational cause. Now, think if those moments didn't align with something out there, some cosmic phenomenon you dismissed. The activation forming in the next 24 hours may appear technical to scientists, but you feel it in your skin. And that matters more than any chart. If there's a gift in you that has been set aside, this is the kind of transit that stirs it. Not for you to shout to the world who you are, but to quietly begin remembering. A talent left unrecognized, an emotional expression suppressed, a courage that never had its stage. All of this can be reawakened now. You don't need to believe in astrology or solar energy. You only need to notice that there is something in the air, something moving within you. And with or without explanation, that alone will be enough for you to take the first step. There's something about days like this that seems to carry a silent message. Even if you can't quite name what feels different, You sense that the inner gears are turning at a different speed. The waning moon in Leo is not just an astronomical phase. It's an energetic mirror that interacts with your confidence, your childhood memories, and the forgotten fragments of your pride. It doesn't come to confront you, but to invite you to notice what you've been ignoring about yourself. And today, the entire Earth vibrates as if something is about to be revealed. The planet's magnetic field is shifting. Scientists observe solar particles approaching, detecting fluctuations that may seem distant, but are not. You might feel this in small delays in communication, in how your body responds to sleep, or in that unexplainable fatigue that insists on showing up. Leo rules the heart, not only the organ, but the symbolic center of courage. And if there is a greater force wanting to stir you, it's because something within you is already prepared to be activated. Many people hold gifts they don't recognize as gifts, an uncommon sensitivity to understand others, an ability to anticipate movements, a memory that catches patterns before anyone else notices. The problem isn't the absence of talent, but the absence of space. You may be in a moment where you feel there is more inside you than you can express, and that alone is already a sign that an activation process is underway. The synchronicity between sky and earth is no coincidence. It's a calling. Over the next 24 hours, the invitation is silent but powerful. The cosmic activation taking shape doesn't demand effort, only attention. You'll be presented with old thoughts in a new light. You'll have a conversation that, however ordinary it may seem, will reorganize important ideas. There is no need to search for anything. Just allow what is already yours to surface. And in a subtle way, you'll realize your gifts were never asleep. They were simply waiting for the right moment to breathe deeply. Today may be that moment. There are moments when you can't explain why you feel the way you do. It's not sadness, nor euphoria. It's as if something inside you is being realigned. The waning moon in Leo awakens zones of pride, courage, and expression that may have been silenced to accommodate the world around you. If you've ever felt that you sacrificed your voice to keep harmony, this lunar phase may now be bringing a subtle restlessness, the kind that whispers it's no longer possible to postpone certain changes. Sometimes, the universe speaks gently before it sparks an awakening. The Earth's geomagnetic field, currently in flux, doesn't just affect compasses and satellites. It reverberates in subtle impulses within the human nervous system. You might notice it in recurring thoughts, in a sense of urgency without a clear reason, or in more vivid dreams that feel like coded messages. This interference, though quiet, prepares both body and mind to receive something that was once blocked. When these forces meet, the sky outside and the universe within, it isn't coincidence, but alignment. Some talents don't reveal themselves when surrounded by noise or judgment. They wait for windows like this, when the mind reorganizes and emotions are allowed to flow without censorship. Today, you may notice an old ability in a new light, or feel drawn to a subject that has always been around you, but now resonates differently. Sometimes what you need isn't to learn something new, but to remember who you are without the filters you've learned to wear. Cosmic activation doesn't require complex rituals or external proof. It only asks for sensitivity to notice the small synchronicities, the unlikely encounters, the phrases that seem tailor-made for you. The waning moon invites you to release what no longer serves, while solar magnetism opens inner channels that have always been there, simply waiting for the right time to manifest. Today, this awakening doesn't come from outside. It pulses from within as you allow the invisible to become movement. And movement, here, is all that's needed. You may find yourself more sensitive to details today. Small things that would normally go unnoticed are catching your attention, as if something within you were listening more intently. The waning moon in Leo activates parts of your perception that had been on standby, as though you're preparing the ground for a silent revelation. You might feel an inexplicable urge to organize old thoughts, revisit conversations that still weigh on you, or simply observe who you've been in recent days. It's no coincidence. There's a subtle invitation in the air, and you are listening. On the surface, everything seems normal, but there's an invisible movement occurring in the Earth's electromagnetic field, stirred by forces we don't always fully understand. Science captures these shifts in graphs and sensors, but your body feels them long before that. A restlessness born without apparent reason, a shiver in unexpected moments, memory lapses mixed with flashes of clarity. It's the kind of instability that doesn't seek to destabilize, but to reconfigure. Like a silent reboot, Leo, even in its waning phase, speaks of inner courage. And perhaps you're being called to look at an old talent with new eyes, something that has always been there, but was muffled by external demands. The next steps don't call for haste, but for clarity. And that clarity may come through a sudden impulse, a phrase someone says without realizing its impact, or a dream that keeps returning. Gifts don't disappear with time. They only sleep, waiting for the right conditions to emerge. This energetic activation approaching within the next 24 hours doesn't depend on belief. It happens with or without explanations, because it resonates with the subtle field connecting your personal experience to the movement of the sky. The moon and the sun take turns illuminating what needs to be seen, and now, with leonine energy in retreat, the moment is ideal to turn inward and allow what is yet to be named to surface. This is the kind of revelation that doesn't shout, but simply waves, and those who listen are transformed. On certain days, the atmosphere seems to hold more than just air. There is something suspended in the environment, a gentle tension, as if the universe itself were breathing more deeply. Today, with the waning moon positioned in Leo, you may feel a quiet calling, an inexplicable urge to observe yourself more closely. Random memories may surface without warning, or you may replay old conversations with unusual clarity. These are not coincidences. They are signs that something is shifting within and around you. The geomagnetic activity approaching in the coming hours acts like a subtle wave moving through the layers of the psyche. Scientists call it a fluctuation in the Earth's magnetic field. Intuitives recognize it as the opening of a threshold. When these oscillations occur, you tend to perceive the world in a more expanded way. Sounds, gestures, ideas, everything takes on a different weight. And what once seemed scattered begins to make sense, as though a new emotional logic were taking shape. The energy of Leo brings forth the desire to express what has always been yours, but has been kept hidden out of fear or distraction. On days like this, your gift for influencing, guiding, or inspiring others may awaken spontaneously. A creative idea may arise during a simple conversation, or a long-forgotten desire to teach, write, or create might return with intensity. It is your essence rediscovering a forgotten path, and you don't need to announce it to the world. Simply recognizing the inner movement is enough. Prepare for this activation not with haste, but with presence. The next 24 hours are not about chasing after something, but about being open to receive. That openness happens in silence, in the space between one thought and the next. A small act of self-care, a pause to reorganize your ideas, or even a moment of quiet contemplation may be enough to reopen pathways. The universe does not force doors, it whispers. And those who are attentive understand that some gifts do not emerge through effort, but through permission. When the energies of the cosmos compress before a new cycle, As they do in this waning phase of the moon, certain aspects of the soul become more audible. The sign of Leo, ruled by the inner fire, amplifies this sensation of a quiet urgency. You may feel a sudden desire to acknowledge something within yourself that has been ignored, a longing to take a stand, to be seen in a more authentic way, but with more calm than in the past. There is an emotional maturity growing, even if imperceptible at first glance. It invites you to act not with impulse, but with clarity, and that clarity begins now. Meanwhile, the Earth's magnetic field undergoes subtle shifts, driven by forces unseen to the naked eye, yet not unnoticed by your body and mind. Solar waves and geomagnetic disturbances often affect those who are especially sensitive to energetic variations. You may notice it in the quality of your sleep, in sudden mood changes, or in that restlessness that has no apparent cause. Many dismiss these signs, but you recognize them, not as warnings, but as doors. And some of those doors only open when the mind slows down. This moment asks you to look at your forgotten talents with present eyes. What you might consider just a tendency, communicating with empathy, listening deeply, creating beauty, may reveal itself as an awakened channel of wisdom. The lunar transit in Leo, combined with the magnetic instability over the next 24 hours, stimulates exactly that, the remembrance of who you are beyond the usual roles. You don't need to act with haste, only observe the signs with presence. The simple act of recognizing the gift already begins its activation. If today you feel something stirring within you, even without a clear form, trust it. Not every transformation comes with great external movement. Some announce themselves in the silence between one breath and the next, in the pause where you stop searching and simply begin to feel. The universe does not demand that you understand everything at once. It only suggests that, in the face of what is shifting, you remain receptive. And sometimes, all your gift needs is a brief opening between the noise in order to finally awaken. Some sensations arise without logical explanation. Today, you may have woken up with a subtle restlessness, as if something within you is about to be revealed. This is no coincidence. The waning moon in Leo creates a field of illuminated introspection where old certainties begin to dissolve, making space for the unexpected. This inner state may bring scattered memories, sudden inspirations, and a desire to reorganize your relationship with your own identity. Don't try to rationalize it. Just notice. You are in tune with something greater. Meanwhile, there is a magnetic field in constant motion all around you. Solar flux and geomagnetic waves act as activators that often go unnoticed, but not without effects. Your energetic body feels these changes, even when your mind has yet to translate them into words. Passing aches, sudden fatigue, or an inexplicable joy can all be signs. They do not signal disorder, but adaptation. You are being realigned to manifest abilities that seem dormant, but were only waiting for this very moment. The moon in Leo firmly touches your desire for recognition and expression. But today, instead of seeking the gaze of others, you are being called to turn your focus inward. What truth have you been avoiding? Which part of you has already matured, but still waits for permission to bloom? These questions don't require immediate answers, but they open powerful inner portals. Allow yourself this moment of listening. The connection with your gift begins first in the silence of awareness. And if you feel there is no obvious gift within you, look closer. It may be something subtle, the way you calm an environment with your presence, how you turn an ordinary conversation into a deep exchange, or how you perceive intentions behind words. There is nothing you need to do today. The cosmic activation does not demand performance, only openness. By accepting your current state with honesty, You create the necessary space for the invisible to begin its work. And within that space, something precious has already begun to awaken. You've arrived here sensing that there was something in the air, and you were right. The conjunction of solar magnetism with the energy of the waning moon in Leo doesn't occur only in the sky. It reverberates within your inner centers, reorganizing thoughts and sensations. In this process, certain emotions stir, not as obstacles, but as messengers of what is about to align within you. What once felt confusing now begins to take shape with greater clarity. A part of you, once ignored, now demands attention. If today you felt an inexplicable urge to isolate yourself, to reorganize ideas, or simply to silence the world's noise, understand this. It is your personal field adjusting. Dormant gifts do not awaken amid agitation. They emerge when the inner world finds room to breathe. This breath is not physical, but symbolic. It is the soul's breath when it recognizes that something new is preparing to arrive. Even if you cannot yet name what is emerging, trust it. This movement is real and already underway. The lunar influence does not ask you to show yourself to the world right now. On the contrary, this phase invites subtle preparation, the quiet arranging of the stage before the great act. The sky does not shout, it whispers. And within that whisper, the most valuable guidance is transmitted. This is why you feel the need to filter conversations, reevaluate commitments, and protect your energy. There is wisdom in retreating with purpose, for every true activation is born within before it manifests outward.